On today's spooky special of Let's Talk F1, we discuss motorsport being streamed on YouTube. What? Yes, we talk about that. Is it a trick? Is it a treat? You will find out. We also will be having a little channel update in this Halloween special of Let's Talk F1. All that and more next. Right, so that was a little bit of a different intro. I'm not too sure if that was as hype as it should be on this channel. We love the hype, we love the drama. As you can tell, today's episode, a little bit, well, let's say different than normal. Not only the colour scheme, the Halloween special, we're going to put in quotation marks. That's mainly just because it's Halloween today, so happy Halloween, everybody. Later on today, I will be live with Sean, the F1 Word, and a few other guys doing a Halloween special over there, so I encourage you to go check that out, because that should be a lot of fun. But today, we're going to be discussing the big news coming out of, well, prepare yourself, Formula E. Now, stop. I know it's Formula E. I know I like my Formula E, and not all of you like Formula E, but this is important, and it does have some relevance to Formula 1, so bear with me. If you can, just for 10 seconds, well, it's going to be longer than 10 seconds, so brace yourself. Today, we had the news that Formula E will be streaming all of its races for Season 5, so the upcoming season starting on the 15th of December. Every single race will be streamed on that platform that you can see on screen right now, on the platform you're watching this video on or listening to this video on the YouTubes. Now, like I said in the build-up, is this a trick? Is this a treat? Now, it's Halloween, so it's very fitting that they released this arguably controversial bit of news on Halloween. So, you might be thinking, like I did when I very first heard this piece of news, this is brilliant. You know, I don't always have the TV available, other people are watching TV. It's very difficult to find channels that actually put on the Formula E when it's live. Now they're posting it live on YouTube. That is going to save so much time and effort. They have done it previously in different countries, but now they will be doing it in the UK. So for some of you, I would look out to see if it's available in your region, but it is available in the UK, and I would imagine in most other regions as well. This is almost the final straw now, the final rollout of live Formula E on YouTube. Now, the controversy from this comes from the presenters. Now, you'd think that I just want this to be known as well. This is going to sound like I'm very salty. I just want that to be known. I'm not salty. I'm just a little bit disappointed with Formula E. So the presenters, you'd expect, well, they're going to pick some people that know things about at least motorsport. You know, Formula E, you'd expect them to have, you know, a fairly good knowledge, but motorsport in general, you'd think, oh, brilliant, let's get them on board. So if you're going to ask me who I think they maybe should have picked, if it's on YouTube, maybe you're looking at your motorsport creators. So Sean, like I mentioned earlier, the F1 Word, Chain Bear, Matt Gallagher, the W2F1 guys, Arava, Tia McMarduk. That's just a few. I mean, there's hundreds of millions. Alex Zaffro, loads of Into the Barrier would be a huge laugh. But those sort of guys that have knowledge in motorsport, that have shown that they can relay fantastic motorsport information to the viewer, and they make it entertaining as well, and that's what you want. Now, for Formula E, that will be hugely beneficial, because one of their biggest roadblocks at the moment, I feel, is Formula 1 fans being reluctant to go over to Formula E. And I really think that if you haven't tried it, give it a go, and if you're annoyed at me for mentioning it again, I apologise, but I will get into why this is to do with Formula 1 in a second. Instead, they've decided to go with a main host as Lawrence McKenna. So if you don't know who that is, if you watched the KSI versus Logan Paul fight, if you ever watched the Wembley Cup, Lawrence McKenna and True Geordie are the ones that commentate on that. And Lawrence McKenna's done work for, I think it's the Football Daily before. Really nice guy, to be fair, and obviously I've never met him, but he seems like a really nice guy, and he is a very good commentator. Alongside him for the first race of the season is KSI. KSI. Now, when I first heard this, like I say, I was very excited that it's going to be on YouTube, but when I heard the commentators, I was really stuck. Lawrence has a football background, the same with JJ. KSI, a football background. Now, these guys, I believe, have been to Formula E events before, and I don't know if they are motorsport fans, but the likelihood is that they're not diehard. I think that's safe to say. They've never put up any videos or anything on social media or anything like that. And I think this is a huge missed opportunity, I would say, for Formula One creators. Now, again, I'm not salty or anything like that. I know I'm nowhere near the sort of scale for this sort of thing. But I still think Formula E have made a big mistake. And if I'm being honest, I think this will put off a lot of motorsport fans. I really do. I think they want to be watching a race where, the commentators really are 50% of the production. You know, it's great watching the racing, but if you sat there in silence, it's not the same. It's not the same vibe because you can't really follow it in as much detail. There are things you will miss, and for a casual fan, that's definitely something that will be going on. And I really have to question whether this is a business decision in terms of getting new fans that have never experienced motorsport before, or this is a decision where they just want the numbers to go up as best they can. And I do appreciate that having KSI will bring some folks over that have never experienced motorsport. But I'm not too sure that's the audience that at the moment they need to be going for. I do feel as a creator that posts Formula E videos that there is a big divide in the motorsport community. And like I say, I think that's the bigger issue at the moment. I think more people are happy to watch Formula E that have never seen it before, rather than a Formula One fan. I really do believe that. And like I say, I think for a casual fan, watching someone like KSI do a video, well, not a video, the whole race of Formula E commentating, I think it's going to get very awkward. I think there will be a lack of, I don't want to say knowledge, motorsport knowledge maybe, but I can't help myself but feel that there were so many other better candidates for this, but Formula E have just decided to go for the two guys that perhaps would bring a bigger audience. So it's a very strange one because the degree I'm doing at university is very business orientated, so I understand from that point of view this is going to bring the numbers in, but I'm still not sure in the long term this is the best decision. Especially considering there will be some of you guys, Formula One fans, that will check it out on YouTube. And if you're watching it and there's these two guys commentating on it and they don't have a clue what's going on, they don't know. Well, obviously they will do their research. Obviously they will do that. But research can only do so much. You know, we even saw David Coulthard last season do a race in Formula E and he looked so out of his depth. And I think that's where I'm coming from here. I think watching David Coulthard struggle to commentate over Formula E makes me really question if these guys are going to be up to it. You know what? I will say this. I want to be proved wrong. I really do, because these guys seem like nice guys, if I'm being totally honest with you. And don't want to cause any offence or anything, because they could have really good motorsport knowledge. But I still, personally, truly feel that a chance should have gone to a motorsport YouTuber. I really do believe that. And there's people from all different types of motorsport YouTube, not just Formula One. IndyCar's got a huge scene. NASCAR has got a huge scene. And even the Regen Racing podcast boys love what they do. Why were they not given a chance? Why were they not given a chance? Those two have me in hysterics sometimes. They know their Formula E in and out. They're passionate. Great banter and chemistry between the two of them. It's just annoying. It really is. So, what does this have to do with F1? Well, obviously it's got this big link to, should F1 maybe do more to include its own creators? Obviously Formula E now is going to, I feel anyway, going to shun the Formula One creators a little bit. This is a big sort of heap of shade, I feel, to the Formula One creators. Does Formula One itself have to do more to include its creators? That's something that I feel that Formula E does a lot better than Formula One, is marketing, especially on a digital platform, as evident by the fact they're going to be live streaming all their races. Formula One, well, unfortunately, won't be doing that for many years due to the crazy contracts they have signed. Well, Bernie Ecclestone signed when he was in charge with the likes of Sky. And Formula One is very lucky that they've been able to sort out a deal with Sky so that Channel 4 can have highlights for next year. Even that, it's annoying that the key thing for Formula One is to get younger fans into the sport and casual fans, more casual fans, because you don't just start as a die-hard fan. No one does. You start as a casual fan, and that's where these sort of things begin. So, for me, the link with Formula One here is, what is Formula One's response going to be? Is it going to be the classic Formula One, just ignore Formula E? More and more these days, Formula One seem to be copying more and more of what Formula E does, especially on the social media side of things. So, what should Formula One do? Should they start looking at alternatives like streaming on YouTube, streaming on Twitch? I know for the esports Formula One did, they stream it on Facebook. That's just crazy in itself. So, I'd love to know your thoughts on this whole story. It's something that I really wanted to cover. I think, well, you've heard my opinions, and you can tell I'm quite wound up about it, if I'm being totally honest with you, but maybe that's because I'm a Formula 1 creator myself, even though I'm not being salty. But if I'm being totally honest, if I had, subscribers like Tia McMurdoch, those sort of numbers, I would feel, I don't know, a little bit paid off a little bit, really, that there was no sort of acknowledgement that the motorsport community exists on YouTube. So it's a very, very strange one indeed, and we've seen from the esports series that Matt Gallagher and the WTF1 guys are brilliant when it becomes a professional scene. So, very disappointed from my end, and I'd love to know your thoughts on that one. And is it a trick or is it a treat? Well, I think this is a bit of a trick, a little bit of a disappointment, if I'm being totally honest with you. But again, it might just be my biased standpoint, so not the lightest way to start this Halloween special, but that's really the only main story at the moment, if I'm being totally honest with you. We did have the news that, I probably should mention this, and why not while we're here, we should mention this. Marcus Ericsson now has a drive for next season, and it's with IndyCar. He will be driving a full season of IndyCar. I am not very knowledgeable in the world of IndyCar. I'm really trying to get into it a little bit more, as well as NASCAR. And over the last year or so, I've really been pushing to watch as many races as I can. But I'm still taking my time with it. Let's say I don't catch every single race, but Ericsson has got a seat in IndyCar next year. And after watching a few IndyCar YouTubers, who I will link in the description because they had a lot to say about this, and I was very impressed with some of the videos that they had out there. He seems to be in a team, David Land put it, that is almost like the Red Bull sort of team of IndyCar. They're not winning every single weekend. Some weekends they're not really on the pace, but there is the potential there. And for me, for Marcus Ericsson, a guy that's been stuck in bog standard teams in Formula One, that's great news for him, that he might be able to get some wins. He might be able to taste some champagne, something that he hasn't done for quite some time. So, fingers crossed for Marcus. And I think, if I'm being totally honest with you, that's the best news that we could probably expect from him, if I'm being totally honest. There's one seat left in Formula E. NASCAR's always an option. Apart from that, you're really looking at something a bit obscure. So, IndyCar, for me, I think was definitely the best option for Marcus Ericsson. Now, something I wanted to quickly mention again, just before we go, is a channel update, almost. Now, there's a few things that have been going around in my head of recently. That was really bad English, but we'll leave it in. Of recent. And they're slightly strange, I suppose. So, the first is the schedule. I really like the schedule, but I'm struggling to stick to it. Time commitments for university is a huge thing at the moment. Exams already straight starting with those as soon as we jump in. So the balance is a little bit difficult to find. So we're still finding our feet a little bit, but we're slowly getting into a bit of a rhythm. The idea of the schedule is that we have the Formula E show on a Thursday, the F1 show on a Wednesday. Over the weekend, we have the weekend stuff, and as in on a Friday, we have the sort of preview for the weekend. Sunday, we have the race review, and then here and there, sprinkled in between, we have a few different odds and bods. I think that's perfect way of putting it, odds and bods. I will throw it out there now. I will be doing more Formula E content. I think that's something that I really enjoy making. Almost a niche that I've almost have that I think a lot of Formula 1 tubers don't do at all is Formula E, so that's something I'm going to be looking into a little bit more, and because of that, almost, I don't want to call it a competition, but something I'm going to start looking into is changing my name. So F1 Reviews, love the name. It's almost put me on the map in some cases. But I'm not too sure going forward. It's something that I want to be known as just F1. I don't want that to be the case. I want to be Formula E and Formula 1. So, I don't know. That's just a few things going over my head at the moment. And it's just a question. If you got any ideas of what I could be, chuck them down in the comments below. You don't have to, but I just thought I'd be real with you guys. You know, I think you can tell this isn't really a scripted sort of piece or anything this week. It's a thrown together video for you guys before I'm live later on with Sean, because it is Halloween. I wanted to say happy Halloween. I wanted to talk and vent my frustration about this whole YouTube Formula E, Formula 1 situation that we're in. And I just wanted to sort of share with you guys how I feel with the channel at the moment. And also, yeah, these last 2 weeks, 200 subscribers, it's my highest growth, or point of growth ever. The channel's growing at the highest rate it ever has. So, a huge thank you to everyone who's new, and, of course, to everyone who's been here almost since day one. I'm looking at you, Scandinavian, David Pesha. All of you have been in the comments since day one, and you've been such huge support. So, just wanted to throw that in there as well. Much lighter video today, guys. I know it's a lot more laid back and chill, but there has really been no F1 news to talk about, so it's very, very difficult trying to scrape the barrel. We could talk about silly season, but I'd love a Let's Talk F1 without silly season, a little more chilled back. Halloween special. It's only a short one, but thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you, hopefully, in the next one. Cheers, guys.